Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Maybe you are aware that President Joseph Biden went to the Independence Hall in Philadelphia and he made a speech. He completed a speech. And I did not listen to the speech. I listened only to the entire speech. I listened only to parts that were, things that had something important to say, I would say. And I got an article here talking about Biden's big that he had by saying things that indeed are very strong, but very dangerous for this country. That's my assessment. This article comes from Yahoo News, and this is the title: Biden punches back. Like he was punched. Do you need to punch Biden, you think? Or just and he would back like a leaf. So Biden punches back and punches hard at Trump and extremist MAGA Republicans. Make America great again, Republicans. Extremist. How many voted for Trump in the last elections? About 70-some million, or 80 or something like that, almost 80, 70-some million people. Those people bought the MAGA extremist ideology. So what would be the suggestion if you call them extremists? And why are they extremists? I would like to be explained. Washington. All right, in stark combative language, President Biden denounced, I'm quoting, extreme MAGA ideology that resonated with about, I will round it to 80 million Americans, adults, that voted for this person who represents MAGA. So you have, and he was voted by a few million more. So the difference is not like, 90 to 10, okay? So I would dare to say that you have almost half of the electorate that voted, showed up to vote, having this, as he says, extremist ideology. So what are you going to do with half of a population? All right, so this is what he said. Too much of what's happening in our country. What country are you talking about? Our. Because this guy is going to employ certain generalizations that will be very dangerous. So, too much of what's happening, what exactly, in our country today is not normal. You think? Did you look in a mirror? Biden said, Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation of our republic. Well, didn't they vote? They participate in the system? Okay. Are you talking about January 6th stupidity? How many were involved over there? 80 million? Were there 80 million? So you generalized some riot made by some idiots. Some of them were, some of them were not. Because some of them were just over there. It's not all everybody who was over there was trespassing or anything. So for much of his first year in office, Biden preferred to simply refer to Trump as the former guy. Very classy, very classy. So he talks about Trump being a pig, but he is not really different with this, the former guy. And the next one is going to talk about him, the former guy who's dead. Is how they're going to talk about him? All right, so it says here that the acronym MAGA Republicans is for Make America Great Again, All right. So this guy says that, I'm quoting, MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. Is that a generalization? Yes. I know that generalizing from a minority to making like a general rule, therefore generalization, is very dangerous. He doesn't care. He said those guys did not care for the Constitution and not care about Constitution. Why did they bother to vote then? And then if you say, well, they rioted, they tried to do the insurrection. How many? Either way you turn it, you got about 80 million people that you lump in one category, extremists, and you got a few thousands that from some of those few thousands you generalize it to the 80 million or about 70 some million. Isn't that strange and dangerous? Because you conflate everything to dangerous and terrorism. In 2 minutes going to be terrorism from all this. They do not recognize the will of the people. Who? The MAGA Republicans? Did you speak with all of them? What if you have a person who really believes in MAGA? Did you ask that person specifically? How do you know that all? They don't. So he generalizes. What if we stereotyping and generalizing certain groups in the society? Would it be okay? No. But it's okay with doing this. Coming from the top. Remember, this guy, he's in charge of the military. He's in charge of FBI. He's in charge, supposedly, right? His office. He's in charge of CIA. All the law enforcement agencies, information and intelligence are under the presidency. And this guy talks like this. It's like a drunk guy in a parking lot, as I said, with many shotguns, which are this department, this organization, this bureau, and all that. Military, CIA, FBI, NIS, PSNA, Bembele, Kembele, showing in the parking lot and say, everybody who is right now standing up is attacking me. I perceive that person to attack me. Everybody gonna fall to the ground unless they have something, and they don't. So then this is how it works. Are you standing up? What they say? You are about to attack me. So this is very dangerous. This is just a step. The next step. What's the next step? Love. Okay. So MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. There are many MAGA that did not do anything about anything. So how do you know that? Again, they do not believe in the rule of law. Really? Generalization. They do not recognize the will of the people. Really? Why don't you have 80 million people in the streets right now attacking the other 83 or whatever? Huh? So you see, all these things are very easily debunked and refuted. They refuse to accept the results of a free election. Who? Did you speak with all of them? So he is, from that, conflating it to everyone else. All right, so Biden said in a reference to the unwillingness of Trump and many of his supporters. These guys are just covering, and many of his supporters. He didn't say many of his supporters. He said all of them. He said the MAGA. He didn't say that. MAGA Republicans. That's all the people, MAGA Republicans, who voted for Trump. Because if you vote for Trump, you voted for MAGA. Automatically. So these guys are trying to, he said in reference to the unwillingness of Trump and many of his supporters to concede. Why don't you say all of them? According to Biden, all of them, according to Biden. Because they all don't respect the Constitution. They all don't believe in the rule of law. They all don't recognize the will of the people. They all refuse to accept the results of the free election. And this is the President of the United States of America. And he says, and they're working right now as I speak in state after state to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself. If they vote, can they vote? Are they allowed to vote? Are they allowed to vote? No? So, and I'm quoting, MAGA forces are determined MAGA forces, are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love. Well, I love my mom. God damn it. I love my dog. Can I marry them? Oh, so you see, again, generalities. No right to choose. Can I choose not to do anything? Yeah, you can, but then you can participate, right? No right to privacy. Well, you tell me about that when going outside and telling everybody this and that. No. They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence. Really? What about 2020? What about those things in the Minnesota and all over America for those social justice? Was that violence? They were entitled, right? That's called projection. Okay, that's what it's called. They embrace anger. Well, I'm angry if I'm treated unjustly. I can't be happy. Can you? If, let's say, someone attacks your child and harms your child, are you supposed to be happy? No. If something was done wrong or you perceive it was done wrong, then maybe you're angry, right? So some people perceive that some things were not right. So then they're angry for various reasons on both sides. It's not only for this or that. You can be angry if you perceive that you were done wrong, something unjust. They live not in the light of truth. What do you mean? Trump has that truth media. But in the shadow of lies, really. They live in chaos. Well, if you live in chaos, that means you don't know what you're doing. So then how can you, embrace anger, or you have all those things that you just mentioned? That means you have some guidance somewhere. It's not even worth, but history tells us that blind loyalty to a single leader and willingness to engage in political violence is fatal to democracy, Biden said. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And yes, it is. Yes. And blind, again, he generalized that people are so stupid that blindly might agree with some things that someone said. Generalization. He says it's true. Yes. If you are blind, but who had that? The Germans? The Germans were the most educated country in the world at that time, in the past century. So what are you talking about, Biden? You don't know. But why would you? You're a politician. America must choose to move forward. What's forward? What do you mean forward? What is forward? You gotta identify. Or to move backwards. Well, what can I say? Vote, vote, vote. Yes, vote, vote, vote. But there's a little problem. Who counts the votes? Stalin? Remember what he said. Let them vote as long as we count the votes. So yeah, vote is okay. Vote. Yeah, vote. We voted in Romania. Not I was too young when it was the communist system. You were asked to come to vote. And always Ceausescu was elected 99.9%. Can you guess why? Because they were counting the votes. So I know how voting was over there. So it's true that it's true. Vote, vote, vote. I'm for it. But those guys over there in Romania, communist Romania, they were counting the votes the way they wanted. So I would add, Mr. Biden, vote, 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 fair elections and, transparency, all these things. Yeah, this is the situation. What is the next step? How can you fix this with about 80 million MAGA Republican extremists, according to Joe Biden? What can you do with them? How can you change their mind? How can you prevent them from doing something that he thinks that they are about to do? How? I have many things to say here about what I foresee coming in this country, and it's not good. Coming from them, not from the citizens. Not from the citizens. And the thing is this, the other side that probably is grinning right now, reading what I just read about what President Biden said, they don't know that It's not about those guys getting hurt or something, or being pointed out or something like that. It's the idea, the system is crumbling. And the thing, if that happens to those guys, that means it's fair game to happen to them whenever those guys that ran out they agree with change their mind. And then they will be crying and they will ask, wait a second, whoa, I thought we were a team here, we hurt only them. No, buddy, there's no team. That's them and us. And supposedly they are our representatives. But it seems like they are our handlers. It's totally the other way around. They're supposed to be our employees, and they will sanction us. We are citizens, and they are our representatives. And when you're the president, you're not the president only of the people who voted for you. So you can't just say like this, I take this one and the other ones, I do whatever I want. You know what I mean? They push this country to a direction that's definitely going to authoritarianism. Definitely. I see signs, multiple signs, and I know that people like me, who came from countries that were like that, with authoritarian regimes, dictators and all that, they are scared shitless. Their hair on their legs are popping up like this because they see the signs. See the Cubans. See the Cubans, what they think about this kind of thing. And not only the Cubans. As I said, many people who came from this kind of societies, when they hear this, and they were old enough to hear those guys say, it's like the same way. Well, we'll see. I mean, how long do I have to live? I'm giving myself maybe 20 more years. And 20 more years, I hope shit doesn't hit the fan here too much. After 20 years, how am I supposed to defend myself or get arrested or something? I don't know. It's 20 years. That's all. I think the things will not get that bad in 20 years, but it can go in 2 years. In Romania, it went in 2 years. But it's a small country. This is a big country. So look how fast the depression switched. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, and then a month or two is all done. All done. You know what I mean. So you don't need tens of years, or my 20 years expectation of life expectation that I have, could be 20 years in BS or 19 years in BS. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth and be just.